This video is in continuation to the previous video on A Prayer for My Daughter by W.B. Yeats. We had left the first video, with stanza 3. Let's begin with stanza 4. Let me read the stanza first, then go on to explain it. Helen, being chosen, found life flat and dull, and later had much trouble from a fool. While that great queen that rose out of the spray, being fatherless, could have her way, yet chose a bandy-legged smith for a man. It's certain that fine women eat a crazy salad with their meat, whereby the horn of plenty is undone. In stanza 4 of A Prayer for My Daughter, Yeats substantiates his view on how excessive beauty has always been a source of trouble and destruction. He turns to Helen in Greek mythology, considered to be the most beautiful woman on earth, brought the doom upon her and many others. The image of Helen evokes another figure, Aphrodite, who rose out of the spray. The union of Aphrodite and Hephaestus, bandy-legged smith, brings to mind the Maud Gonne McBride episode. It makes the poet wonder if the beautiful women eat something stupid for salad, that they make a stupid decision which brings misery forever. The rich horn of plenty is suggestive of courtesy, aristocracy, riches, ceremony, money, that is lost by those women who make stupid decisions. Moving on to stanza 5. In courtesy, I would have her chiefly learned. Hearts are not had as a gift, but hearts are earned by those that are not entirely beautiful. Yet many that have played the fool, for beauty's very self has charm made wise, and many a poor man that has roved, loved and thought himself beloved, from a glad kindness cannot take his eyes. In stanza 5 of A Prayer for My Daughter, the poet continues with what he wants his daughter to possess more than beauty. He wants his daughter to learn to be compassionate and kind. Many times, men who believed to love and loved by the beautiful women faced disappointment compared to those found love in modest yet compassionate women. Moreover, he says modest and courteous people attract hearts than those with beauty, referring to his own marriage, probably. Ultimately, he makes it clear that he wants his daughter to be an agreeable young woman than an arrogant beauty. Stanza 6. May she become a flourishing hidden tree, that all her thoughts may like the linnet be, and have no business but dispensing round. Their magnanimity is of sound, nor but in merriment begin a chase, nor but in merriment a quarrel. Or may she live like some green laurel, rooted in one dear perpetual place. In stanza 6 of A Prayer for My Daughter, Yeats continues to talk about his hopes and expectations for his daughter. As she grew up, he wants her to be happy and content. He wants her to become a flourishing hidden tree, and her thoughts, like a linnet, referring to its innocence and cheerfulness. Like a linnet, he wants her to be satisfied in herself and infect others with her happiness. Further, he wants her to live like a laurel rooted in a particular place. The poet reveals his wish on his daughter being rooted in tradition. Stanza 7. My mind, because the minds that I have loved, the sort of beauty that I have approved, prosper but little, has dried up of late. Yet knows that to be choked with hate may well be of all evil chances chief, If there is no hatred in a mind, assault and battery of the wind can never tear the linnet from the leaf. Yeats continues to talk about self contentment women in stanza 7 of A Prayer for My Daughter. He believes that kind, self contained, traditionally rooted women are incorruptible. The poet considers hatred to be the cause of all evil and prays that her to be left of all that evil. Further, he believes that a soul free from hatred will preserve its innocence and hatred, just as the storm outside can tear leaves from sturdy leaves, turmoil and war can't break a strong woman. Moving on to stanza 8, an intellectual hatred is the worst. So let her think, opinions are accursed. Have I not seen the loveliest woman born out of the mouth of plenty's horn? Because of her opinionated mind, barter that horn and every good by quiet natures understood for an old bellows full of angry wit? In stanza 8 of A Prayer for My Daughter, the poet implores his daughter to shun passion and wild feelings that he considered as a weakness of beautiful women. She must be temperate because people who love deeply could hate deeply too. Hate destroys people and makes them do cruel things, especially intellectual hatred, which is worst of all kinds. The poet reflects upon his emotional state when Maud Gonne rejected him to marry John McBride. He wants his daughter to experience neither the disappointment nor the hatred. Stanza 9. Stanza 9. Considering I regret the inconvenience due to some technical glitch. Please bear with me. Let me begin with stanza 9 again. Considering that all hatred driven hence, the soul recovers radical innocence and learns at last that it is self delighting, self appeasing, self affrighting, and that its own sweet will is heaven's will. She can, though every face should scowl, and every windy quarter howl, or every bellows burst, be happy still. The ninth stanza continues to describe the impact of hatred and the benefit of staying away from hatred. Once hatred is driven out, the soul could recover its innocence. Then the soul would be free to explore and to find that it is self delighting, self appeasing, and self affrighting. According to the poet, the ideal woman makes everyone happy and comfortable despite all the storms of misfortunes that come in her way. She is a stronghold for people around her, and her will would be that of heavens, for she has a clear mind. Moving on to the concluding stanza of the poem, and may her bridegroom bring her to a house where all is accustomed, ceremonious, for arrogance and hatred are the wares peddled in the thoroughfares. How but in custom and in ceremony are innocence and beauty born? Ceremony is a name for the rich horn and custom for the spreading laurel tree. In this last stanza of A Prayer for My Daughter, the poet expresses his final wish. He prays that his daughter to be married to a good husband who takes her to a home with aristocratic values and traditions. There he believes that neither arrogance nor hatred of common folks could be found, but morality and purity. Further, the poet does not want her to live a decadent life. He concludes by stating that his daughter would be rooted in a spiritual values like a laurel tree. Let me sum up with just a few lines about W.B. Yeats. W.B. Yeats was born as the eldest son of John Butler Yeats on June 13, 1865. He was considered one of the key figures of the 20th century literature. He helped to found the Abbey Theatre. His commendable contribution to poetry earned him appreciation from many great poets of his time. In the later years, he served 2 terms as a senator of the Irish Free State before his demise, his death, that is, on 28th January 1939. This much for today. Thank you, everyone.